Okay, so here goes. For the first time ever in this show, I owe you an apology. No, not for snarky comments, rather for misleading you. You guys may have seen this episode where we lived with this particular car here, and I shared with you that this shares the bones with a Toyota Corolla Cross. Now, I was inferring both the car is manufactured in the same factory as the Toyota Corolla Cross, but really the confusion for me came from they share a stamping press. However, since the production of that episode, it was very clearly pointed out to me that they do not share the stamping die, and that is where I misled you, and I apologize for this. And to make up for this confusion, I have brought someone that can give us more details on this.
More details. Huntsville, Alabama, home of the Saturn V rocket, also home of this car and the Corolla Cross, which come out of the same building. But just like I came out of Massachusetts, I am not Samuel Adams.
But you do drink beer.
I do.
So you see where I was confused.
Right. So the confusion is we have a very weird assembly. Usually two cars coming out of the same factory, you would think they are related. But we actually have a joint factory with Toyota that we built there, where we share the stuff that's universal, and we have completely separate lines to build unrelated cars on. So the stuff that's universal is the stamping press, which is just the hydraulic ram that smashes the metal into shape. But we just change out the dies, which is the things that are the shape of the metal. So we stamp out Mazda parts, and then we stamp out Toyota parts. That big press is really expensive, so we share the cost on that. Then the cars go onto two completely separate lines, get the body shells built. Then they go into the same paint line, because paint is pretty much universal except for the color. So some days we paint Toyota colors, we paint Toyotas. Some days we paint Mazda colors, and we paint Mazdas. Somehow they sort all that out. They come out painted, split onto two lines again, build two completely separate cars, different people, different parts. And then they go back together again for the final inspection, because the final inspection is picky people with eyeballs and lights looking at cars. They can look at both of those cars. So the final inspection line is Toyota and Mazda. They come out into a logistics center where we share the logistics to ship them off to dealers. But the cars themselves, completely unrelated.
And the employees are employees of Toyota, Mazda, or is it a joint venture that is
There
owned
is
by
a joint venture called Mazda Toyota Manufacturing US.
And they are employees of this.
Right. We have Mazda employees there, we have Toyota employees there, and we have MTM US employees there. It's incredibly confusing when you actually go there.
Clearly it was confusing even for me. And when it comes to the batching, like you said about the paint and that kind of stuff,
yeah.
Is it batched in the stamping press as well? Like we're going to run Toyotas today and tomorrow run
I don't know
Mazdas?
how long it takes to change the dies, so I don't really know the detailed logistics of that. I haven't been to those parts of the factories. I've just been to the Mazda line. Look across on the other side of the building, you can see Toyotas, but yeah, that's not our line, so we don't go over there.
Hopefully you spend some time on the track in Alabama. It's just not Mazda. We won't say whose manufacturer it is.
I have visited some tracks in
Yes,
Alabama. Yes.
And he owns one of those cars. So a further way for me to make this up to you is to not only share Mr. Coleman and him clearing up the confusion, but he has news to share with you on this. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys alone with Mr. Coleman. And once again, my apologies for the confusion. Arigato gozaimasu.
All right, so MotoMan got another thing wrong and another thing right. So let's talk about that. The thing he got right is he said, hey, the car's really nice to drive and a really nice car overall. So yeah, good. What he got wrong is you can't actually buy this car anymore. This car was built in September, and in November, we started changing how it rides, how it handles, how the brakes feel, that kind of thing. We're constantly doing refinements and updates to the chassis performance because at Mazda we're a bunch of chassis nerds who are real picky about how things drive. And we came up with some techniques to make the steering have more clear feedback, make the ride quality better and more consistent between on-road and off-road, and for it to handle better. And so we put together a package of changes to go into next model year, I think 25. Model years are weird for engineers because we're working in the future and I don't remember when it is. Regardless, those changes were so good, we went ahead and pulled them forward and did a running change in the middle of a model year. And starting in November production, these cars will have our new tuning. What we did is we changed sort of the style of damping that we're using in the suspension to make it a little bit more linear. You tend to use a more linear damper when you're off-road and you're going to take big bumps. It means the fast bumps have more damping and the slow bumps have less, so it can kind of be more supple over small bumps, and then when you hit something big, it has enough damping to control it. That works really well on sort of the bombed out streets of LA as well, so we find that's a really sort of better compromise for American roads and for the sort of off-road adventures you want to have in a car like this. We also changed the steering tuning, made the steering a little bit lighter and a little bit more communicative. We keep a Lotus Elise around as a reference vehicle because it's the only manual steering car that we can find, and it communicates so much information through the wheel, tells your hands what's happening, and it gives you this real sort of connection to the road. We're trying to get as much of that feel as we can through our electric power steering system. And I've figured out some tweaks in the software where we can get some of that information through. So we tweaked the tuning of the steering to give you more clear feedback. And then at the same time, we also changed the brake tuning a little bit. The brake booster is tweaked to give you a little bit stronger bite. So we have sharper steering response, lighter effort on the steering, and we wanted to match the brake feel with that so that we have a good harmony in all of the controls. So the brakes are exactly the same brakes, but the booster is changed to make the effort a little bit lighter, so it kind of harmonizes with all the other parts of the car. So as you can see, we are real nitpicky. We like to fine-tune things. We like to change things a couple of years after we introduce them. So if there's any little tweaks on other Mazdas that you think are important, mention them in the comments. Maybe MotoMan will remember my phone number this time, and when he checks if he's right about the next car, he can tell me what you guys said. Other thing I learned about YouTube is there's a difference between a channel and a playlist, and there is apparently a playlist of just me yapping about cars on MotoMan's channel. So if you figure out where to push somewhere around on the screen, there's probably a link to go to that. That's it. Happy New Year. See you on the next car. So MotoMan's been hounding me for months to come and tell you about the plug-in hybrid CX-90. And I've been too busy working on secret stuff I can't tell him about. So it's taken until my Christmas break before I can finally come here and talk about this car. I want to talk about sort of the high and wow. Definitely all the highs and all the wows about why we made the CX-90 plug-in hybrid.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a one-take Charlie. Start from the top.
Yeah, all right. Here I am, finally. MotoMan's been hounding me for months to come tell you about the plug-in hybrid CX-90. Commute traffic is slow and EVs are more efficient when you're driving slowly. So I often go over 30 miles on just the electric mode. That's a place to stop as I ran out of stream of consciousness. My stream of consciousness ran dry.
What you say?